Living life seeking answers to the many problems that continue to evolve? Whether it's about business, money, relationships, family, or anything, let's talk. Join Alan Cousin of Get Up Radio Media as he talks about anything and everything that the mind can come up with. His motto is, you can't find a solution until you talk about it first. Ready to be informed about life and feel positive daily? Then come listen to Let's Talk with Alan Cousin and get up as a positive new you.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Happy Thursday. That's right. Happy Thursday to you, and to you. Yes, because we're all amazing. We're all amazing, right? That's right. Hello, my name is Alan Cousin. Welcome to Let's Talk. Of course, this is the show where we try to talk about certain situations and try to find proper solutions to problems that you or I or all of us may have, and basically help others that may need to help, or emphasize and become informative to those who may need to hear things. So today, I really want to stress today that I'm going to talk about something that really feel needs to be accounted for and looked at. And I know, yes, it's going to take a long time before these things actually improve themselves, unfortunately. But, it doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it, because we need to talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more we're going to get to the point of hopefully doing something about it. And that's why we continue to talk. So with that being said, I want to talk about, unfortunately, a young lady who's 22, used to attend the University of Kentucky. Her name was Sophia Rosing. And Sophia Rosing, even though this has happened back in February, not even February, it happened actually November 6th of 2022, but finally a court decision was made in February. Sophia Rosing, 22 years old, who was attending University of Kentucky, was charged with 6 counts after drunk calling a black receptionist the N-word 200 times. Now I'm going to say that again. Sophia Rosing, who's 22, who was attending the University of Kentucky, was indicted with 6 charges after calling a black receptionist the N-word 200 times. Now, I know we all learn as kids, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. And that's true. I mean, if you have the power and the mentality to not believe in something, then it doesn't affect you mentally. But unfortunately, because of this N-word being a historical word, it's very hard to not allow something to affect you historically. Because this N-word should have never been created for a individual, and never should have been placed on an individual, because it really doesn't, quote unquote, have the same meaning as the individual that it's informed to be. But unfortunately, people have used it constantly, historically, to the point where now it gives a negative connotation and will make you have a negative effect. Now, this young lady was drunk, but still, normally when you're drunk or intoxicated, you tend to be honest and truthful about what you really believe in, right? What you really mean to say, because a lot of times when you're not drunk and you're consciously cognizant, you will be able to stop yourself from saying things that probably would not be the right things, or more could be harmful to others if spoken. But when you're drunk, you basically have your ability of just saying what you want, how you want, and you tell the truth of how you truly feel about life and everybody else. And so this woman said this, therefore showing the truth about her. And she was later kicked out of the school. And now, I discovered that her mother tried to create a petition to get signed, which had about 568 signatures, I believe. Thank God it only had that. basically saying that she should be forgiven and allowed to go back to the University of Kentucky because people make mistakes. And I do understand we are not perfect. The mother's right. We are not perfect. But here's the thing. Historically, slavery was placed in our history, American history, out of choice. Not something that was forced. Not something that was made to happen because it had to happen. It wasn't like a weather condition that you couldn't stop the situation. You couldn't make the situation not happen. No, slavery was a choice created to happen and was placed upon the society of minority people, better known as colored or black, to be inferior to those who were known as Caucasian or white. And they were used and abused without any amenities, freedoms, or rights. And this happened for over 200 years, 200 plus years. And this caused a generational wealth gap because with those 200 plus years, they had nothing of possessions or ownership of anything. Therefore, they had nothing to pass on to their daughters, their sons, their grandkids, great-grandkids, and so forth. Which is why now in the 21st century, because they are asking for reparations, and we continually ask for reparations, it's because of the generational gap, because there are a lot of people today who are not financially well off, while those who are financially well off are well off not due to their hardworking services, but due to the ownership of blacks who worked hard for them and received nothing in return. And this is where that word was created and came from. So, of course, when you are called that word, it is respectfully, historically makes you feel like you are being called a slave, because they are saying that you're worth nothing and that you deserve nothing and that you are inferior and should basically just do what you're told and obey. Now, have I been called the N-word? Yes, I have. I've been called in several occasions the N-word. I've been called it by various people. And, of course, I've handled it accordingly myself, how I felt due diligently to handle it. Intelligence is something that is very powerful. Intelligence will protect you in many ways. Intelligence will help you to fight and defeat others in many ways, because intelligence along with confidence can cause a power that no one can explain. Now, though I say people are human and heirs to human, meaning that we do make mistakes, right? You still have to understand that there are certain mistakes, though, that you can call a mistake. And there are certain mistakes that you have to say that was no mistake, that was purposely done. And I'm sorry if someone called someone else the N-word 200 times. I have to honestly say, logically even, that that was not a mistake. That they meant to say that, because they said it 200 times. Now, forgiveness is something that should always be given, but never forget the actions that have been forgiven. And like I said, I have gone through my own controversies, of course, which I handle professionally and legally myself. And even though I'm living a very good life, and I am very blessed to have three beautiful girls that I love and adore and will always love, we do have issues at times, because even here in the state of Texas, there are times that I would go out with one of my girls, or all three of them, and because they were Caucasian and I was considered black according to the historic constitution that has been created, because race was not created until the 1800s. Until then, it was only humans and Europeans and non-Europeans. So, race didn't effectively occur until the United States created the racial system. So according to the racial system, I was called black. And so therefore, I would go out, and me being a black man with a Caucasian or white woman would cause problems with people who were in the same environment or same proximity as me. And I would see sometimes even parents run to get their kids as though I was going to injure them or take them away or hurt them simply because I was a black man walking. And no matter how I dressed, I mean, I could dress very nice, I could dress standard, comfortable, casual, whatever. It didn't matter because all they saw was a black individual that caused them to go fearful, thinking that something bad was going to happen because a black man was walking near them. And it does upset you at times. Don't get me wrong. It did upset me at times to be able to see this progression in the 21st century, I might add, where supposedly we should be of intelligence and human beings are, quote unquote, considered the most intelligent of all beings, quote unquote, considered. But yet our actions have continually failed us in showing that we are actually intelligent beings. Makes you wonder why the aliens who are progressively viewing us and observing us are taking their time to actually introduce themselves, because probably in their eyes we are still not ready to be given that right to move to the next mental level, because mentally we're not prepared yet because of our actions that show that we are still in many ways simply a child. So I wanted to talk about this because here's the thing. It needs to go away, yes. But the thing is, it's not going to go away until we talk about it, until we admit it is wrong, until we prove that it is wrong, until we create actions that violate that it is wrong, and until we realize that we are all the same, that no one is better than one other, no one is different, no one is in any way special compared to others. We are all humans. We are born all as a human. We, in most cases, will have 5 fingers, 5 toes. 10 fingers, 10 toes. We all bleed red. So you cut ours. We all have the same coloration of blood. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 mouth. We all have 1 brain. We all learn accordingly the same in most ways. There's many similarities. Yes, we are unique in that we are born with something that's oddly different than everyone else, but we are all still part of the human society, and we are all human. Therefore, we need to stop believing that others are inferior to us and that we are superior, because we are not. And God made us all equal. We decided to change that. The humans decided to change that, because that was never written in any Bible, that was never written in any Torah, never written in any scripture, never written in any Greek Orthodox. It was something created by a human, a group of humans who decided that they were going to change the ways of history. History, better yet known as his story, because history is still not have been told fully, because there's so many things that have been taken out of history, and instead, in place of true history, we are continually hearing his story of how things played. But intelligence is starting to come about as the generation of today is starting to question the generation of before, and starting to ask questions as to why such evil acts occurred, as to why they felt it was quote unquote okay to do such things to individuals and treat certain humans as objects, possessions. And it makes you feel quote unquote unjustly ashamed when your great grandson or great granddaughter or daughter says, why did our parents own slaves? Why did our parents, our great grandparents, beat people and hurt them and torture them? Are we evil? Is our family evil because we did that? Do you want to do that too? See, now, because the intelligence is kicking in, people are now being questioned about these actions. And they don't want to answer the question, because if you answer the question, then you have to admit to, quote unquote, the action, and that you understand it, but by understanding it, that you agree with it because you didn't try to stop it or change it. And so now they're trying to take slavery out of the history books. They're trying to not allow people to know that slavery occurred for 200 plus years. That's not the solution to this problem. The solution is to let people know that it happened, but the solution is to stop it so that it doesn't happen anymore. The solution is that we in 1965 supposedly gave equality to everyone, but honestly, it still hasn't been given. And that there are still people out there who are getting different mortgage rates, bank rates, or not being hired for opportunity of promotion simply because of the color of their skin, because they have melatonin in their blood that makes them darker. So unfortunately, they are now considered a negative or a bad seed and doesn't deserve to get better opportunities in life, or they're considered dumb because, black people are not smart or intelligent. They're hateful and mean, and they're anger, and they're, steal, and they're like monkeys, and they don't have any common sense or intelligence to be able to improve or learn to be a better person. These are all myths that have been created and passed down for generations, to the point that now there are people out there that really believe that subconsciously, when they see someone of a black nature color, automatically believe that person's evil or that person's going to do something bad. And if it wasn't for the smartphones of today, now where you have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram Live, a lot of things will still continue on because, even police officers were tormenting people of color because nobody was there to film it or to protest it or to show that this was going on. And now it's being caught on film. And guess what? It's still to the point where they get out of it legally most of the time in court and are pleaded not guilty, though the evidence is clearly there, because we are still having those of power who are ignorant, unfortunately, in their means of thinking, who are negatively evil in their actions, who are incapable of understanding that equality is true and present, and diversity is actually something that's supposed to exist. That these people are still in power and will try their very best to keep this negative situation growing and in place because they want to have power over others, that they can enjoy what life has to offer, but no one else without their permission. And it's unfortunate that we are living in such a world, in such a society where this actually exists. It's unfortunate that you have to wonder when you look at someone or speak to someone if what you hear and what you see is what you truly get, or if they're just hiding it because now there are practical laws that protect you, to the point that if something of negative nature was to happen in a racist vocabulary action, that you could possibly sue them or try to get them fired for their actions, or disciplined, or reprimanded. So, I must say that when it comes to people like Sophia Rosing and other individuals out there, because there's many out there we can name, sometimes, yes, we understand mistakes are made. We understand people do make mistakes and should be forgiven for them. And I believe that. I believe everyone should be forgiven for their actions. But sometimes you have to realize that some actions you cannot forget and you cannot allow, because that action was proven to be not a mistake, but actually something that was thought through and actually purposely done. I do hope one day that we can have an end to racism, an end to sexism, an end to fascism. I hope that one day some form of euphoria can come into this country and this world, and that one day people can walk along each other and play with each other and work together and understand that opportunity is allowed for everyone and should be given to everyone when the chance is, of course, there for them. It's amazing how many times I've seen people overlooked for jobs because of how their hair was made or how their skin color was, or because people just assumed that they were not intelligent because of the color of their skin. You know, I remember when I was young and I tried to get my first job, I was told over the phone, because I filled out the application and so forth, that I was hired. And I went to the job. It was a Foot Locker on Canal Street. And when I got there and I told the manager that I was here for my job and I was told to come down and go through, the logistics of finishing the paperwork and getting my uniform and my start date, the guy said, "Oh, no, it must have been a mistake. I don't think they called you. I think you're at the wrong one." I said, "No, this is the phone number. This is the address." And I spoke to the guy, and Matt told me, to come down here. And he said, "No," and I said, "No, I'm serious. I'm definitely sure this is the right place. I definitely, can call the number if you wanted me to call the number and we can see who." And he finally said, "Sir," he said, "Kid, look, I'm Matt. I thought you were white." Because I sound white, supposedly, on the phone. I don't know what sounding white is. I never did understand that point of view, too, that, people said I would sound white over the phone. I never understood what sounding white was. Was because I sound intelligent and I'm eloquent with my words, and because of my intelligence, you automatically assumed I was white. That means I'm white. I still don't know. But, anyway. So he said I sounded white, and now that I'm black, I'm an N-word. So I can't hire you. So I'm sorry, you're not getting a job. Now imagine being 14 and you're just told this. And you're thinking that, America's dream is for everyone. Everyone is equal enough to try to have success and have the same opportunities to do what they feel to improve themselves and better themselves. And you're told, no, you can't have that because you're black. I mean, I've had this even when I was in my 30s. I had my director in security at the Waldorf Astoria. I'll never forget that. Mr. Khan was his name. No, I'm not sure if he still works there. And if he does, it's unfortunate because his father was a police chief and he was definitely racist. So his son, of course, Mike Khan, was racist. And he told me one day when I kept asking about getting a promotion or getting a raise, he said, "Alan, come, let me show you something." He said, "See that statue there of Andrew Jackson? See, who did he fight for? Did he fight for you? Or did he fight for me? Clearly, he didn't fight for blacks. He fought for the North. He fought for white people. So therefore, you should just be happy to have a job, because really you shouldn't be able to get any job or be anywhere working because you're not worthy of anything, because you're an N-word. And so please stop asking me to offer you a better salary or promotion, because just be happy you're here, because really you shouldn't be here at all. Now think about that. I was in my 30s. And once again, still, 18 years later, still going through the same thing presently as if it's never changed. I mean, I can even tell you there was a time where I was accused of being a active shooter terrorist because of the color of my skin. Imagine that. If somebody came to you and the FBI, police, and so forth, accusing you of being an active shooter and a terrorist, that you were going to go shoot and kill people. How does that make you feel? And then every time you see an active shooter video now, you always think about that moment where they called you an active shooter, called you a terrorist. Like, how could that happen in today's society? Yet it does. And it still happens. And these are not mistakes. These are not errors that just happen to happen. No, these are actually things that have happened because they were planned, because they were quote unquote considered normal. And that's what needs to change. It needs to stop. I always used to say back then, what if we flipped the script? What if for 24 hours, just 24 hours, white people had to see how it felt to be black? And I remember there was a professor, I can't remember her name right now, and I really enjoy watching her because she has questioned, and she is a white professor, has questioned many people. And the things she has said has definitely showed them that they know that what they're doing is wrong, but they won't do anything to right it, to change it, to make it better, because they feel like I'm not powerful enough to do that. I'm not going to be willing to go against the majority and say, let's stop. No, I'm just going to go with the flow because, it's not affecting me anyway, so why should I worry about it? If it's not hurting me, I don't have anything to worry about. And so that's the thing. As long as it's not hurting them, they're not trying to change it because it's not hurting them. I mean, they keep asking about why we need reparations when, people are not still slaves. You'd be amazed how we are still in slavery chains right now. When you don't get a promotion, even though you're intelligent, when you don't get the same credit line or same interest rate on your credit card or your mortgage rate, or you don't get a home because they said that you were not, quote unquote, able to do so, but yet you had the same down payment, same credit rating as someone else that was white. You don't get that car loan or that personal loan, but you had the same amount of money and same ratings as the individual that just got it next to you who was white. So yes, slavery still is going on. It was actually put in place after the war was won with the North and the South. It was put in place by Banks and by England to continually make sure that slavery was going on by having it so that when you were considered minority, that you would have to pay more interest on your car or house, and that you would still, because the computer system read it as black, they would make sure you didn't get to the interview process or you didn't get the job. This is programmed in systems today and has been caught that it still is programmed in systems today. It's terrible. It really is. It's very upsetting and shameful to know that in the 21st century, we still have to worry about something as simple as racism. And we still have to fight it. And I try my best to educate those that are around me that we are all the same. And I have shown in my generosity and my actions that I will always be fair and equal to everyone, no matter who you are, your gender, your skin color, your age, whatever. I will not judge you because God told me not to judge anyone. Because in all the Bible or the Greek Orthodox or Torah, there is nothing that says it's okay to judge. Only one can judge, and that is God. And no one says otherwise. You cannot. You're not supposed to judge anyone. So therefore, that is what causes the problem. Pride and prejudice is caused by judgment. Because you believe that you are better than someone. You believe you have the power to say whether someone is good or bad is why the problem exists. And then you're bringing that situation and passing it on to your ancestors, your next generations. That's bad. And so, like I said, for us to be in 2023 and have a white female in a college, and that's what makes it really even more fearful, in college. That means she's going to graduate college one day and leave and start living the world in a life where she works and she has these beliefs that if she ever moves up into her position, she's going to stop people of color from moving up in her department, or not give people of color jobs at her particular department or company if she has the power to do so. That's scary that it still exists in 2023. When are we going to learn? When are we going to open our eyes, or as they say, when are we going to be woke to understand God's law and understand that we are all the same. Like I said, we are all amazing, and it's true. We are all amazing. We have the ability to do many things if we put our minds to it. Therefore, we have the ability to stop racism and sexism if we put our minds to it. If we want to, we could change. That's the problem, though. Do we want to change? Because as long as you're getting the good part of life, you don't feel a need to change. But once you have that negativity placed on you, then of course it's a problem. Then of course you want to change it. That's not how the system works. That's never been how the system's supposed to work. But unfortunately, because of people that have been doing these for hundreds of years, that is how the system currently is. And it needs to change. It's about time we become human. It's about time we understand the definition of humanity. It's about time we understand what equality truly means. And like I said, I can mention many situations, unfortunately, in 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020. I mean, many. But there's no need for me to mention them. All you have to do is go Google racism or racist events, and you will see them so clearly, so quickly, unfortunately. Pages and pages of racist acts that are still going on in the 21st century. And my question is why? Why? And how will we finally change this? How will we wake up one day to realize it's wrong? I don't see it happening in my lifetime, unfortunately, or the next. But I will always pray every day and hope that maybe I'm wrong and maybe it will change. Because realize this, whatever you think it's not correct, imagine it being done to you or your daughter or your son or your cousin or your niece or your nephew. Think about that. Anything that you allow or see occurring negatively, imagine if it was done to them or yourself. Would you allow it? Would you want it to happen? If the answer is no, then that means clearly you know that what you're seeing is wrong. And what you're seeing shouldn't be done. And what that means is if you have the faith and the confidence to understand, you will stand up to change and right what is wrong. But unfortunately, many people today, though they make you believe they're confident and powerful, are very scared and fearful. And don't have the ability to speak for what is truly right and try to change what is truly wrong. It's unfortunate but true. Very few of us out there have the power and the confidence and the endurance to really want to do the right thing. We are many people out there wearing a mask, imitating something that we truly are not, because we don't have the ability to really be bold, confident, and do the right thing. So I'm going to hope that you have listened to this and you have allowed it to sink in. And it's wrong. It is wrong to judge others. It is wrong to allow judgment to be placed on others. It is wrong to cast negativity on those that are different. It is wrong to stop others from having the same opportunities that you want. It is wrong to allow others to deprive others of their opportunities. It is wrong to watch something that you know is evil occur without trying to stop it. And if you see it happening and you do nothing about it, you are an accomplice. Just like someone murdering someone and you don't stop it, you're an accomplice to murder. Well, if you see someone being racist, then guess what? That means you're saying racism is okay. So that means you are indirectly racist. And many people will say, oh, I'm not racist. I have black friends and Hispanic friends. just because you have those friends don't mean you're not racist. Your actions speak louder than your words. Who you are will show through your actions and your words. Who you are will show who you will become in the future. So let's stop allowing negativity to flow. Let's start forcing positivity among this world. Let's start to realize the truth of what God, Yahweh, or Buddha, or whoever you may believe, has passed on to us, that we are all equal, we are all the same, and that we all are supposed to respect and love each other and honor each other. And that nobody is better than the rest. No one. So before I end this, I'm going to go ahead and play a song that I feel that definitely is powerful towards this subject matter. And like I said, I know one day things will change. One day we will improve. One day this will become a memory. And it will become history that will never repeat itself. One day. It's just that one day is not yet today. But we are continually fighting. We are improving. We are growing in numbers to the point that one day will be someday soon. So, in order to promote this a little bit better, I'm going to play Glory by John Legend featuring Common. That was in the movie Selma. So there you have it. Glory by John Legend featuring Common from the movie Selma soundtrack. Like I said, I've gone through many perils and situations and incidents throughout my lifetime, and I know that I will probably go through some more, of course, even though I have the ability of handling them so much more professionally, and I have the strength and the capabilities to take them and control the situation and reverse it to where I wind up being the victor when such situations occur now. Because I am not afraid to speak the truth. I am not afraid to be intelligent. I'm not afraid to inform others of what they need to hear in order to make them understand that what they're doing or saying is wrong. And I hope that others out there who are listening will do the same. That when the opportunity is there, you will not turn away and walk away blind-eyed. You will walk towards and you will defend the individual who needs assistance and help the one who is causing a negativity realize that they are being negative and wrong in what they're doing. Just remember, anything you do towards others, think for a moment if you would want it done to you. If the answer is no, then clearly you shouldn't do it to others. It's pretty simple. Just something that's not difficult at all. So that's just something I want you to think about. If anything you do to others, you think first what you want it done to yourself, and the answer is no, then clearly you shouldn't do it to others. But hopefully, one day we will learn. One day we will improve. One day we will use the full capability of our brain to understand the intelligence and knowledge that is there, and fully understand what is wrong and what is right, and start doing the right thing. I am ready to do so and will continue. The question is, are you ready? And will you do the same? Think about it.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk with your host, Alan Cousin. If you have any questions that need answers or wish to be on the show, feel free to email us at letstalk@getupradio.com. And if you have a moment to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, we'd really appreciate it. Remember to get up, smile, and live life positively, as you are an amazing person.